Yes, ladies and gents, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Life Podcast. And I am your host this evening, and I'm joined by four of our lovely usual guests Ben, Rick, Ross, and Adam. I won't go around each and every one of you like we normally do because we'll be here until probably tomorrow morning. So, but thank you for joining, gents, and giving up your time to have a chat about the Reds. Well, another busy day on the Liverpool media front. Well, I'll say Liverpool and Newcastle because we're pretty much intertwined with the Geordies at this rate. But before we jump into the what probably everyone's going to be joining the podcast about today, the first bit of news that broke when I first saw it this morning, and it's been developing throughout the day, and that is regarding the future of one Mr. Darwin Nunez. Reports breaking this morning and being confirmed by multiple local journos that he is now very close to a move to Saudi. He obviously got his way after, remember that clip earlier on in the season where he was begging for the Saudi money. It looks like he's finally secured that Saudi bag, but he is close to a move to Al Hilal. So there's a club-to-club agreement as per Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein for a fee of, and apologies, they seem to be reporting it in euros, but 53 million euros and heavy add-ons, which is easy to bring the package higher. Gents, we'll go around the room and just talk about Darwin Nunez, probably one of the most polarizing figures that the club's had for a long time, as we were speaking before. One of the very few people that could probably go 10 games in a row without scoring, smack one into Rose Ed and get the Nunez chant. Ads, I'll come to you, mate, because it's been a few shows since you've been on, so I'll go to you first. Darwin, what's your what's your summary of Darwin's time at Liverpool, and kind of what are your thoughts about the news that he's going to be heading towards the exit door?
Quite gutted, really, that it didn't work out for him, to be honest. I was a big advocate of him at the start and backed him for the good couple of seasons with Klopp, thinking it'd come right, and there's always arguing with people, but he gets a load of chances though. He does this, he's a fucking menace and everything you wanted really from him, except the main thing what a striker has to do is score goals. But in the end, it's just last season was where I wiped my hands off him. I just couldn't. That was it. I was done, mate. That miss everything we were talking about before, wasn't me? Like against Aston Villa and all that, and fucking loads. So it was inevitable that he was going, I think. So I'm happy. I'm happy that he's going. And I'm happy with even getting 60 odd million or whatever it is. I'm quite surprised, quite surprised. So good business.
Yeah, agreed. Well, there's just had it sent to me now. There's one of the journalists in Saudi that's Hassan Al-Asiri, who have been informed is reliable. So Nunez has now sent his official approval to Al Hilal. So you put your hand up, Benjamin.
Josh Anfield Sect has just retweeted Liverpool want to sign Barcola.
Hey, my shout that. Been saying that for ages.
Well, do you know what? We're
from that Loic Tanzi. He's reliable for French media, isn't he?
We're 6 minutes into the podcast and we're already getting more news. Like this has been the craziest summer to reboot the pod I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
honestly, absolutely.
Well, get it up. Go on, carry on what you were saying. I just thought I'd let you know because you were on the. It just broke on my phone.
Yeah, no, well, we'll cover that one in a second then. Bloody hell. Yeah. So Ross, obviously the Darwin Nunez news. Again, what do you think? I want to ask you about the fee. So 53 million euros, whatever that roughly translates to GBP, plus obviously add-ons. What are your thoughts of the fee? Think that's a good fee?
I think it was one of the best we're going to get, if I'm honest. I think throughout the whole kind of summer, he'd been linked with clubs in Europe, but they weren't kind of entertaining the valuation that we wanted of him. Obviously, Saudi are always going to come in with money. Ultimately, I think we've recouped majority of what we paid for him, and that's all we can ask. Because I think we can all agree his 3 odd seasons here have been a bit underwhelming. So the fact we've managed to recoup majority of the fee, especially with the add-ons as well, if he meets those, can't really argue with it. just gives us the opportunity now to go and reinvest that money elsewhere. So, and as Ben said, looks like there's some exciting news to potentially reinvest that money in. So, yeah, can't argue with it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we're going to have to pivot to this news that's coming out. I mean, obviously the Darwin one, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about when it becomes official. I think most of the lads on the podcast have got a similar feeling around Darwin Nunez. So look, before we go on to the big, I mean, let's pivot to this. So the article that's come out, again, to shout out to our friends at Anfield Sector. So big breaking news: Liverpool want to sign Bradley Barcola. So Liverpool have been following the player for a long time and could also take advantage of this loyalty to persuade the player. For the club, for the moment, not a seller, it will be necessary to be very convincing. So as you can probably tell, there's a little bit of a translation issue because it has come from a French article. Generally, I think what it's trying to suggest is that Liverpool are obviously very keen to sign him, that PSG are not looking to necessarily sell. There were, talks that he was potentially signing a deal, I think, a few weeks ago. So it'd be interesting to see how this one develops. But Rick, I mean, this is one of those really exciting transfer stories that kind of come out of the blue. I mean, nobody saw this coming. He wasn't on anyone's lips really, apart from a nice signing that some people like. Yeah, all right. But Rick, Barcola, what do you think about that then?
Yeah, he'd be an interesting player for sure, definitely. I mean, we see him play against us. We've seen what he's done. I think he's hit over double digits in goals and assists in the French league, or all comps for PSG last season. I think the fee would be high, if I'm being honest. And I don't know, I don't know what to make of it. Is he the alternative to Isak? Because I can't see Liverpool getting Isak and Barcola. I just think that's way too much money. If you're looking at 130 for Isak, you're probably looking at 70, 80 million on top of that for Barcola, for even PSG to come to the table, because he was part of a massive winning team last season, Champions League, the French League. I don't know what he did in the Club World Cup, to be fair. I didn't really watch that crap. But yeah, it'd be interesting if he's the Diaz replacement and on top of Isak, then yeah, fair play, let's go. But I'm taking Isak over him before.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, I'll ask you about that. Do you see, I mean, obviously they're completely different players. I mean, you're talking just from a financial perspective that Barcola would mean Isak not happening, but from a playing style, obviously one's a winger, one's a striker, so they shouldn't have an effect. But firstly, do you see Barcola potentially being an alternative to Isak? And secondly, could you see the move happening? Because obviously, he's definitely behind Kvaratskhelia in the pecking order. So could you see potentially the players looking at it and thinking that there's an opportunity to move?
Personally, I think it's a problem. Thing is, Liverpool are only going to go for the top tier players. We've seen that this summer. I think we can all agree on that. They're not going for low quality or further down the pecking order. For me, regardless of how it looks, I think it might be a pressure tactic towards Newcastle to say, look, we can go and spend money elsewhere here. Either live enough, potentially. I just can't see. I personally don't see Liverpool doing both of them. Because you're talking over, what would we be talking here about? 240 million?
Yeah, 230.
Yeah, I can't potentially see that myself. I know we've just brought money in. There'd only be two options, and I'll tell you which one I'd be more favouring towards after it. Option number one is they're diverting elsewhere. They're probably going for a bigger winger and a lesser forward. Maybe they've had a bit of bad news behind the scenes with Isak. Or the other option is they're putting pressure on Newcastle. Because obviously Liverpool are going to spend big money regardless if it's Isak or anyone else. Personally, I think it's pressure on Newcastle. What is the chances, pardon me, that this link comes out just after all this madness in the last hour or so? Do you know what I mean? The rumours are he was supposed to be sitting down with Piff and Eddie Howe this afternoon, Isak. So media gets out there, their journalists will all be on there. And let's be honest, right, all the Geordie journals would have seen all that. If they see that sort of link, they'd be in touch with Newcastle saying, have you seen that? That's all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. We're talking 230, probably 240, all in all for the two of them. Ads, I'll come to you because I know you obviously mentioned Barcola. Do you think this could be one that potentially could happen in the future? So obviously we know the interest in players for Liverpool will span over seasons. Do you think this could be one maybe that they're looking to do next year? Because it's obviously they're trying to stagger stuff over. I think we're probably going to look at DM next summer. Or do you think this is genuinely one for now?
This could be one that's maybe just come up again, like an opportunist one. He did lose his place last season when obviously that Douay come in as well. And that's why I mentioned it a few weeks back, saying he could be an option when we were talking about like Diaz replacements and stuff. And then the conversation is everyone's been having lately of, well, we're only going to have 4 or 5 strikers, aren't we? And then so maybe it is on the cards, maybe it is. And I like to say it, of this 100 million everyone likes to quote round, and that it won't be 100 million if it won't be. But we all had this conversation, obviously, as I say, about six strikers. Maybe he's the other one, and he can play on the right as well. By the way, he played mostly on the right for PSG.
Yeah, well. It's not just going to be an out-and-out left winger when you've got Rio and fucking Cody Gakpo and Ekitike talking up the left. You're not going to have another one, are you?
So that's it. Do we all want 6 forwards or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the line that came out from the club in the beginning of the summer is that Slot's ideally trying to get two players for each position to get competition and squad depth. So, you know, we know that right wing position is an odd one because obviously you've got Mo Salah. So it's very tough to sign a player that is going to be happy to come and sit on the bench to play behind Mo Salah. But obviously Mo Salah, unfortunately, is coming towards the twilight part of his career. But Ross, I mean, we're talking probably 100 million euros if this deal is to be done. If this were to happen, I mean, how on earth do you see Liverpool setting up with potentially Gakpo, Isak, Ekitike, Salah, Rio, and Barcola?
I think that's a very difficult question to answer, if I'm honest. Like, you know, if we're talking about getting Barcola on top of maybe Isak, that's a very interesting kind of proposition about how we do set up. Obviously, like you said, Salah kind of is coming towards the end of his career. Whether it's kind of succession planning, I'm not sure. I think obviously Barcola is a wicked player, absolutely wicked, and I think Adam, you mentioned him before, didn't you, on a previous pod? So there's going to be a lot of games to play. You know, we're in all competitions, aren't we? So Champions League, Premier League, very, very intense games. So plenty of games for players to get minutes. And especially if Barcola can play on the left or right, you know, easily he could fit in somewhere. I don't know if it's true. It's very difficult. And I had a question for Ben, really, just prior. So, you know, these Rodrigo links came about previously. And obviously there was talks with us not selling Diaz as well. Could we potentially see us pivot from, say, someone like Rodrigo because his wages would be out of this world, and having a look at Barcola, thinking it could be feasible transfer fee wise, but also on a wage structure wise?
I think with regards to like the outlook on some of the targets for Liverpool, Isak's the dream number one. I think everyone can agree with that. I think the club probably look at the Barcolas and Rodrigos as an opportunity. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, for that to be the case, they wouldn't have let Diaz go if they weren't considering a good opportunity. And I know people probably don't want to hear it, but, you know, we've had a few chats behind the scenes. There's a lot. It wouldn't be surprising in the next year or so Cody Gakpo's probably on the end of a transfer out of Liverpool, because I just don't think they see that as the type of winger that they probably would have went for. Do you know what I mean? And that's not me saying anything bad about Cody Gakpo. I really rate him. But I just think when they see the likes of these Rodrigos and fucking Barcolas, they probably think they've got so much higher within the ceiling. Do you know what I mean? And they probably see them as top tier wingers. I really like Gakpo, but I know a lot of the fan base, when they're talking and setting up the formation, they've said, let's say if Isak comes in, touch what it does, I don't really see many of the formations with Gakpo in there. And I'd probably be along the lines of some of the people on the fucking computers at Liverpool, probably similar like that. You know, people are talking about Ekitike and shit like that. So, do you know what you've just said there, mate? I think it could be an option. And probably if this is a genuine link with Barcola, then it probably is along the lines of that Liverpool's top tier targets on the left wing could be Barcola or Rodrigo.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing from LB, I think what you see from Liverpool, Slot, this new team made up of some of the older heads with Edwards, etc., is that they're not pissing about. There's no sentiment, there's no emotion in it, and if they're looking at this and they get a sniff that Barcola is available, and if that means sacrificing a player that they think, like Ben said, has got a lower ceiling, they will. But they just will do that, and that it could be this, like someone said earlier, opportunistic. That's the word that Liverpool like to use. And maybe Barcola's had second thoughts about trying to extend the contract if he doesn't get guarantees of playing minutes. So, Rick, I mean, have you seen much of Barcola? And if you have, what do you think of him as a player?
No, I've only seen him in the Champions League games. Really, he looks good. His end product's not great. I know I said at the start that he smashed some goals and got assists in for PSG. But if you looked at in the Champions League a little bit, Arsenal game, he wasted a few chances when he come on in that game. So it's going to be quite interesting if the link's legit and what he could bring to the team, because I just don't see us going for Barcola if we go for Isak, and we've got Ekitike as well. Where do all these players fit in? It's a lot of money. It's going to be big wages. I know Diaz has gone and Nunez is on the verge of going. And then you've got the likes of Rio that stepped up in pre-season that's looked very good. If you bring the likes of Barcola in, does that stop him getting game time next season? Because like Ben said, you've got Gakpo still. So Gakpo, Barcola, what do you do with Rio then? You've obviously still got Chiesa at the club, who Joyce come out and said today that he looks like he's still leaving. I just don't think this link's legit. I just think it's a name chucked out there to put pressure on Newcastle a little bit. I'm sure we'll find out some sort of stuff from Newcastle tonight after the meeting between Isak, Eddie Howe and Piff. I'm sure Craig Hope or one of the other minions will come out later. But yeah, I just don't think this Barcola link's legit. I just think it's a name out there.
Ben?
It's me, Al, mate. Arsenal, like.
Kevin's mate.
Yeah, I don't know. We got too much exciting stuff to talk about and stuff like that. I think we're going to have to wait for this Barcola one to develop a little bit more. I don't know, not to discredit journos, it's not what we're about, but I don't know the reliability with this particular journalist in Paris Saint-Germain, and I don't know. So obviously, I think it's an exciting link. I do think from a squad perspective, there's definitely room for both of Barcola and Isak, but obviously we don't know financially where Liverpool are at. Obviously, they seem like they're recouping some great money for player sales. They're going to be up to about 200 million, I think, when Nunez goes. So, listen, they've surprised us all window, Liverpool. So let's wait and see. But look, the big one that seems to be the big one on every pod at the moment. And I don't know what we're going to do for content when he finally signs for Liverpool, because that'll be it. Alexander Isak. So, what are the developments around Isak? So, for those that haven't seen, I'm sure if anyone's like me, then we're refreshing Twitter constantly. But obviously, Isak's been back in the UK and obviously in the Northeast since the weekend, and has been sighted a few times at the Newcastle training ground. The Newcastle team and the coaching staff returned back to a training ground themselves today. And the news that were coming out is that Eddie Howe has requested that Isak trains alone on his own in the afternoon. So they obviously had a training session. They also had like a family bonding thing, by all accounts, according to obviously Keith Downey and Craig Hope, the local journos. And Isak was not invited to either train or attend the event. So what we do know is that he's currently there now, isn't he? If we've seen the video reports going in that he's probably at the ground now, potentially having conversations with Eddie Howe, but nothing definitive about that yet. It's just as each day goes past, there just seems to be more and more pointing to the fact that he's just not going to be a Newcastle player at the end of the window. I know obviously we've had the bid rejected, we've taken a step back, but the stuff that's come out today, obviously he's been excluded from not just the training, but I think it's quite important to mention he's been excluded from the bonding session that Eddie Howe's put together. I mean, that's quite a significant thing, isn't it?
That is, isn't it? It's like not inviting your basically not inviting your star player to the party. Like, what's going on? He's obviously not welcome, and there's been more to the story, hasn't he? Something's happened. Eddie Howe doesn't obviously want. The other day, Eddie Howe was like, "Yeah, we're sorted out," type thing, and then the next minute he's saying, "Well, if you don't want to train for us, we're Newcastle United." He changed the story quite quick in the last few days, and now he's not inviting them to his little tea party. Then something's happened. Something's happened. I think I'm like everyone else here that it's definitely over for Isak and Newcastle, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's really tough to see a way back. It is really tough to see a way back. I mean, Ross, I just want to ask you. I mean, obviously Eddie Howe has been on the periphery of it really by his own admission. So I think was it Singapore that Newcastle were they were on their pre-season tour. So obviously they've been watching and listening from a distance. But there seems to be, a few people have said it, there seems to be just a feeling that something shifted behind the scenes today. Do you think that the reality of the situation with everyone being back, just getting to feel the atmosphere in person, getting to witness, like, do you think something's dropped, a penny drop for Eddie Howe and the coaching staff today? Now they're actually back living in amongst it.
Yeah, I think that's been shifting for a while, isn't it? And I think we can kind of see that from the narrative from the last 3 weeks or so. You know, all the reports coming out saying he's not for sale. Now we fast forward to today, and there's been a lot of reports coming out to say they kind of resigned to the idea of losing him. And I think there's one journalist that said along the lines of he extends his contract or he goes. And I think based on what we know about Isak so far is he wants to go. So I think there is a little bit of an understanding from the Newcastle side now that, he does want to go. I do feel a bit for Eddie Howe because, it's not easy losing your star player, especially the way he's gone about it, going AWOL from the tour, going out to Spain. And obviously Eddie Howe kind of acknowledged that he found out via the media that he was out in Spain. And I mentioned it on the last pod, we've been through this with Coutinho, so it's difficult. But I do definitely think something within Newcastle has shifted, and you can just see that via all the reports. I think they're resigned to losing him, and it's just about maximising his value now. Yeah, I would agree. Luke, where have you been? You're my guy normally. You do my job for me. Where have you been for the first 25 minutes? Bloody selfish. Rick, I know you've been, just by the way, chat, for everyone, Rick, for as optimistic as he's been, he's seen his arse this week about Isak. He has been, for the first time, he has been talking about it not happening constantly. So he's lost his privilege now of being Isak's number one. But look, I just want to run this past you because, as Ali said here, the journalists have changed it, and they certainly have. I mean, Lee Ryder put something out earlier, and I'm still trying to decrypt it a little bit, but he basically had alluded to the fact that Newcastle have welcomed Liverpool back to the table for a second bid, but the money is pointless if Newcastle can't get targets over the line. A little bit of a confusing one. He then kind of followed it up, tweeting back to Moby, shout out Moby, that he thinks the second bid is imminent. But there is definitely a last kind of 12 hours, a change in tune that potentially Newcastle could do a deal even before maybe they confirm a replacement.
Yeah, I mean, Isak's probably been sitting at home with his feet up watching Sky Sports News and watching fucking Newcastle not sign anything and getting mugged off, like going head first with bids in for players that don't want to go there. I see they've done it for a centre-back this morning. Big got rejected straight away. They've obviously ain't got top dollar at the minute to go get the players they want to go get. They're going for a tier that they're not. They need to level it down a little bit. They're not the club. The fans think they are. They're not. the journos are all over the place. I think the only one to listen to at Newcastle is Craig Hope. Lee Ryder don't really know what he's talking about. That tweet he put out earlier was contradicting himself. Is it Keith, the one from Sky Sports? He basically he just basically retweets what Craig Hope says in his own wording, and then you got the other geezer. Is it Luke something that seems to be on holiday at the minute?
On the missing list, then.
Yeah. So I wouldn't take too much notice of what they're coming out with at the minute. Obviously, like I said, hopefully we find out some stuff tonight coming out from Newcastle after that meeting. I think it started at 5 o'clock, so I don't know how long Isak can sit there listening to the waffle. They're probably chatting to him. And then you got Ben Jacobs saying that he could potentially sign a new deal with Liverpool. Told him it ain't happening this summer. Again, a load of crap. Why would you do that? So I don't know. I think this weekend the bid's coming. We know Liverpool love a Friday. They love a Friday bid for some sort. I think it will be then. I think Liverpool have waited to see what Newcastle do the last week and a bit in terms of trying to get targets in. And like I said, they couldn't get anyone in. So I think Liverpool give them enough time. They're like, nah, let's just go in now. And I think the bid will come. I think it will come this weekend. Ben seems to think it will get rejected, and then that might put a little bit more pressure on Isak, and then we go in with the last bid and that gets done. I think this next bid will do it. I just think Newcastle, after this meeting tonight, I just think they'll want a shot of him. Because what's the point of keeping somebody that don't want to be there? Like, teams know you got money anyway. Teams know you got money coming. So it don't matter if you get the players in now, after Isak goes, everyone knows you got the cash. So I expect it to ramp up a little bit now. So hopefully we get it done soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're owned by Saudi Arabia, so I mean, it's not a surprise. They've got money. I don't think the Isak stuff really changes that. But just what Danielle said, Ben, I'm going to throw this one to you. I'm not going to read the whole quote from Mel Reddy. Obviously, the David Ornstein one's very promising. He said he'd be very surprised if Isak's a Newcastle player come September 1st. But Mel Reddy's put, and I'll kind of short on this, but the frustration for Alexander Isak and his camp is that they feel they very clearly and respectfully informed Newcastle of the forward's desire to explore a fresh challenge well ahead of the summer. In doing so, it afforded the club the chance to attack the market on the front foot and secure a quality replacement long before it got to this messy point. She then goes on to talk a little bit about, obviously his behaviour a little bit, and not justifying it, but all giving a little bit of sympathy to Isak as to why he may have done that. But Ben, I mean, that does certainly cast a different light on this, because obviously it's Liverpool and Isak bad in the media. That's kind of what's been reported. But I mean, there is a part to play from Newcastle's perspective. If what Mel Reddy's saying is true, and Isak approached the club in plenty of time to inform of his desire to leave the football club, and they just disregarded it, they've got a big part to play in how this has turned out, as well as Isak and Liverpool's supposed unsettling of the player.
I just think they've massively lost their way with the running of this football club. Do you know what I mean? Everyone had high expectations for the Saudis coming in and thought it could be City 2.0, but they're a million miles off it. I think they've made so many false promises. I reckon it's to a few of them. I don't just think it's him. There's a couple of players in there like Bruno and stuff, but he's older, isn't he? So he's probably not going to be as forceful with moving out of there. And where else is he going to go? The midfields and all the top teams in England are stacked, aren't they? Let's make no mistake about it. It leaves Alexander Isak fucking fuming, doesn't it? There's definitely 6 to 8 months in advance of negotiating with them to get out of the club. You can tell. There's no two ways around it. When you see in videos today of him driving in, abandoned from the team, not invited to team bonding events with his hood up, speaks volumes, doesn't it? I know it's not, set in stone, for instance, in the media, but like to say that he's 100% going. But let's be honest, if it was in another industry and we've seen that sort of stuff happening, you'd think, well, maybe he's working his notice now and he's going to be going. So that is the truth. I just don't see a way back now. And to be honest, I'm seeing more and more of their fans now saying, just get him out of the fucking football club. And to be honest, it's no coincidence to me you're seeing a bit of fucking winger links, to be honest. I think that's Liverpool playing the market. I think they're just getting it out there to put a bit of pressure on Newcastle, because let's be honest, I can't see another big coming in. I expect it. The club will know it's going to be rejected. But then I think that's where it falls onto Alexander Isak to put the official transfer request in. It buys a little bit of time for them, probably another week as well, Matt. And let's be honest, they probably could do with that. you're already seeing today. There's from Newcastle side, they look like they're making waves with that. Thior, is it from AC Milan? Personal terms are now agreed, coming out official reports. They're now talking about John McGinn. You know what's his fucking name? Jackson. He looks like he's becoming a big target for them. That's probably their main target. And Weiser's just in the background. I think with regards to the Weiser deal, is the certain similar case to how the Isak deal is. I think Newcastle probably said, look, we'll come for him. You get your replacement in. We're just working on something that we've got going on. And to be honest, the more and more I see it, there's only one way this goes. There's no way back for him. And let's be honest, Mark, we've spoke privately. And we've both said, I can imagine Eddie Howe's a very approachable manager. I don't think he's a bit of a dickhead. I think he'd be easy going. For him to be acting like this now, that says a lot. Because I don't believe Eddie Howe's the type that would cause a load of shit. And to be honest, in the last couple of weeks or so, he showed us inexperience. And I don't think he means to. It's just that he's probably never coped on this scale before. You know, and to be honest, a couple of weeks ago, and this is where the excitement's coming in for me now with regards to Isak in particular, we were questioning him. Has he got the ambition? Because if he wants to play for Liverpool, he's got to kick up a fuss. He certainly exceeded my expectation. And it's starting to show that he's got the bollocks to go and play for Liverpool. You know, when you see the likes of Suarez kicking up a fuss to go, you knew he didn't give a shit. And you knew he was going to go and do well where he went. And I just think, no, mate, Isak can see the finish line, in my opinion. And Liverpool can. I think this is not going to go on to... I don't know why people are saying deadline day. I can't see that. Liverpool have probably got Newcastle where they want them now. And I know it's going to be made out to be the media and, you know, no replacement, blah, blah, blah. The way they've handled that Sesko thing is fucking appalling. I'm not being funny. It's coming out now from their journalists that they've just kept the naming. Why? Why are you trying to look stupid? You've missed out on about 10 players. But then I half think that while that's been going on, they probably knew that they're not going to get Sesko. So they probably left the name in there while they work on this Jackson thing. It wouldn't shock me over the next day or two if things start really coming through on that. Because let's be honest, it's a player that is for sale. Chelsea will probably take the money. And as soon as you see something where they're making headwaves on the main target, I think you see Liverpool get this deal. Because let's face it, the fact is they've had a bit of time, Isak and Newcastle, to separate things and calm down a notch. Does that look like they're calming down to you, Matt? If anything, looks like it's going worse.
Yeah. Rash, mate, I'm happy for you to have your opinion in the chat. That's fine. You can rate Nunez, whatever, but you're being really argumentative. I think you're pissing a lot of people off. Can you just turn it in a bit, mate, please? Thank you. Ad, I'm just going to... I mean, the narrative that's come out from both Liverpool and Newcastle over the last probably week and a half since the first bid went in was that Liverpool will go back, but only if they're invited and only when Newcastle get a replacement.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to be disrespectful, but Newcastle's recruiting or lack of an attempt to has been horrific, as Ben just said. I mean, you know, they've openly admitted that they didn't think they would ever get Sesko and have just wasted another week chasing him. Do you think there gets a point where Liverpool get itchy palms and they end up just trying to go in with a second bid before they do get a replacement? Because they can't just sit there and watch Newcastle fumble target for week after week after week. They've got a season start soon. Isak's going to want to go. Liverpool are going to want to go. And I'd like to think Newcastle are going to want clarity on it. So can you see them going this week with a bid?
I'm a bit 50-50 on that, you know. I'm personally, after watching the friendly the other day with Ekatike, I don't think we're in that much of a rush to actually get him in. And I know, Ben, you were saying about deadline day or whatever. I think we just wait and be like, well, you know the 135's there. We can wait for your replacement and go for your 6th to 7th, your 8th target. So I have changed the tune a bit on that because I think Ekatike can start the season where I was a bit like he's new to the league, but then I see him the other day and I was fucking made up with him. So I don't think we're in that much of a big rush for him to come in straight into the team.
It won't take that long as well, Adam.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a bit 50-50 on that, Mark, to be fair. But I think it's pissing off a lot of fans because it's dragging on a bit, like, isn't it? I would maybe like us to bid this week and be like, no, like, we're being serious now. 120 million. What are you doing type thing, and let's start talking again. While maybe they're in the background sorting a Jackson out or whatever, Whistler, whatever they're gonna do. So yeah, mate, I think I'm a 50-50 on that. But I do actually agree that I think we will bid on Friday. We love a Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Rash, I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
I wanted to stay in the chat because we got good little banter, me and him.
Yeah, no, you're more than welcome. It's good to have different opinions. I just think everybody's just winding everyone up. Just maybe tone it down a little bit. We're having an argument about Mel Reddy a minute ago. So yeah. I've just seen this. So Luke, Elliot going to just seen. Right, I'll chase that up in a second and have a look what that is. But Rick, I just want to throw this question to you. That first bid that went in, 110 million, it was lower than I think we anticipated as fans. I think it was lower than Newcastle anticipated. And I don't think Liverpool ever thought that bid would get the deal done. What do you think Liverpool's intention behind that bid and that specific amount was? Do you think it was just a negotiation start point? Do you think there was a hidden message in it? I'm keen to get your opinion on that.
I think it was just to show Isak that we're serious. We obviously knew the first bid weren't going to get accepted because Newcastle have been trying to get replacements for him for the last 4 months. But yeah, I just think we've shown Isak our hand. We want ya. We're going to go all in on ya. We don't take lightly to bidding 110 million. And I think it was just to show Newcastle we've got the funds, what you want. Just make your mind up, do what you got to do, and we'll come back. Because I think it was quite telling after that. We didn't even know the bid went in. It just coming straight out that it got rejected from Ormsteen. And then obviously the stuff come out after that Liverpool were in no rush to make a second bid. So yeah, I just think the first bid was just to let everyone know that we're there. We want to do it. There's a deal to be done. But I think the next bid will be the serious bid, and I think it will be the bid that gets done. I don't think Liverpool can wait around no more for Newcastle to get their ducks in order because they can't. What's it going to take us to do? Bid 120 million and let them loan fucking Michael Edwards for a few weeks to get some deals done for him, because I don't know who's doing it at the minute for him. Is it Eddie Howe's nephew or something?
Yeah, some brother.
He kind of like could negotiate himself out of a paper bag, to be fair. So it's going to be interesting. I think the next bid gets done over the next week or so. Like I said, I expect a bid to go in this weekend.
Do you think we're in a big rush then, Ricky, to get him done?
Yeah, I think they want it. I think they want him in now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because listen, if you're losing Nunez and Diaz both go in before the league starts, you can't go into the first game with Chiesa probably won't be here. So you can't go in with Gakpo, Salah, and Ekitike and young Rio. You can't do it. So I don't think there's a rush, but I think they'll want to press and get it done.
2 full weeks though, Rick, isn't he? Let's be honest. You've still got a fair bit of time.
Yeah.
You know, he's not fit. He's not fit though either.
But I think they'll want him in for Arsenal, the Arsenal 1 game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's not fit now, though, Adam. He will probably still be half fit, mate. He's just been away with his own team, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm more meaning for like Bournemouth. I mean, like if you're not getting in for the first game, I doubt that. But
I don't think a forward though needs time to just slot in. I think a good forward just goes in there. All he needs to do is stand between the fucking goalposts, doesn't he?
Yeah. The Arsenal game, they're going to want him in.
Yeah.
That could be the difference between winning the league or not. I know it's only the 3rd game of the season and whatnot.
No,
but you can't be dropping points to Arsenal. Yeah.
You keep fucking drawing with these twats for the last 2 years. Just fucking slap them down a few peckers.
I think that's the benchmark for Liverpool.
Do you reckon a couple more weeks? Do you reckon a couple more weeks then of this?
No, I think a week. I think it will be done by next week.
I think it's gonna something. And listen, I'm purely speculating. This isn't information, but something's shifted today.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, my gut feeling is that, like I said, Eddie Howe and the coaching staff and the whole team have been on the periphery. They've been away, different country. I think when you get back home and you're dealing with it head on, you're in the atmosphere, you're around the player, you're around the representatives, the team are around it. It becomes a lot more real. And it wouldn't surprise me if Eddie Howe would turn around to whoever it is that's looking after, whether it's someone from Perth or they've got someone in and saying, look, you know, appreciate we were trying to get a replacement in first, but we can't have this guy around here anymore. It's just let's just get him gone, and I think that's
that's what changed. I think.
No way. Just to jump in on this. So a friend of the channels and someone I know well, I've done a podcast with him a few times before, Adam Pearson. So you probably see them on the Newcastle thing. So he's just said Eddie Howe left 85 minutes after Isak, and Isak's still there. He's met him before he's fucking trained.
Yeah, definitely.
They've had a big chat today, and I believe there's the PIF reps are in the training ground as well. So I'll tell you what, today and tomorrow, this evening and tomorrow is telling them journals. Something will come out about it today. Something is, because if they've had a chat, Newcastle know where the plan is. And to be honest, if he's not going to train, they'll just fucking lash him right under the bus and say he's fucking not training with us. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. If it comes out that there's a bit of positivity, then maybe they've said you're not going at all.
One thing I will say, I think if they've made the decision today or this week to sell, it will go quick. Once that decision's made, Liverpool get to that table, Newcastle will get to that table, and they will do it. It's just waiting, I think, for that coming together of the two clubs, and then just going, do you know what? Fine. My gut feel, that Barcola one, I think that's one Liverpool will go for later down the line. I don't think it's for this summer. I think that's he's a young kid as well. I think let him have another year. Let him get a little bit more disillusioned with being on the bench. Yeah. They're gonna have someone like that on their radar. Liverpool, a young.
Bring him in when Gakpo's there, mate. At the minute,
he plays across all three, though, Ben. He plays across all three.
But then who's he starting over, Adam?
But we're having this conversation. What we're going to say about Carragher in a bit. Why are we talking like that? Do you know what I mean? The fact of we're making the most of being the champions now. Why are we thinking about where's he going to play? Where's he going? Don't fight him to get first team then. And if he's up for sale, if my little theory, what I've just been thinking while you've all been talking, maybe they're getting Rodrigo, and then with Serie A. Then if Rodrigo's going there, then we'll have Barcola, and maybe that's what it is. And it's an opportunity to sign again. Of Salah's going in 2 years' time. In 2 years' time we could have Rio, Isak, and Ekatike and Barcola in 2 years' time. Why not get them in now?
Apparently, sorry to interrupt, but apparently the report says it's an alternative to Isak.
I can't see it being legitimate myself, lads. Liverpool
is that from the same guy that reported it?
Yeah,
he's worded it wrong. It's not.
It's bollocks then. Ignore me.
If that is the case,
then you.
Yeah. But I was going to answer Danielle, just a quick one. We'll do a proper show on the centre back, so that's another conversation, or would be it. But I think, just my opinion, I think obviously Gay is of interest, but I think watch the Italian kid. Is it Leone? I think his name is. I think there's a very good chance that one happens. But
also, Mart, just to add on the centre half thing, Liverpool can't be fucking throwing all the money at a centre half right now. I know people are worried they'll tie it up, but at the same time as Liverpool are working out the numbers on the Isak deal, so they've got to make sure all the money's just sat there while they're sorting this.
They also need clarity on Konate, because that's gonna shape how that looks. If Konate extends, I think you'll see a young kid. If Konate goes, obviously they're going to pivot something different. So, but we'll do a whole show on that, because that's another talking point. I'm going to just throw. We won't stay on too much longer.
Let's go through these quick then.
Yeah, I just want to throw this one that Con's put up there. Carragher's, we know Carragher likes to throw stuff out there and kind of get the fans talking. But obviously he spoke today, and I've got to be honest, I've not watched it myself, so I'm paraphrasing. But by all accounts, the conversation that Carragher was having is that he doesn't want Liverpool to spend £150 million on Isak. He said if you're talking £150 million, you should be signing Mbappe, and that in a nutshell, he thinks that there's not really a structure as to why they're signing both Ekatike and Isak. So, Ad, I'll throw this to you first. I just cover it all, mate. Carragher's comments.
Connor's right there. They're absolutely baffling. I don't understand where he was coming from. If he wasn't in for Isak, he would have been fuming. He would have said, "Well, why aren't Liverpool in for him? We're champions." Blah blah blah. He's saying Ekatike wasn't planned. Maybe it wasn't planned, but unfortunately, we had an incident. What happened, and Jota passed away, obviously. So maybe that was the replacement. He's saying that an 80 million signing shouldn't be sitting on Liverpool's bench. Unfortunately, now, Carragher, we win stuff now, and we're a fucking big club.
Hasn't we just had an £85 million fucker striker sat on the bench who's been sold?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'd love to ask him as well, like, Jota was worth about 60 million.
Yeah.
And so, was it unfair for him to be on the bench? Bollocks, what he was saying, absolute bollocks. It's like, it's a small club mentality. With Ekitike is 23, unproven. Forget the money, we'll have to pay for him. He's going to be battling it out with Isak. And that's what I want Liverpool to be like. Go for everything. So I just don't get it, mate. I don't understand.
End of the day, sorry to put in, lads, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's, Slot is sitting down. We know this now for definite. Slot is sitting down with these players, and he is in meticulous detail talking to these players about where they're going to fit in, what role they're going to be playing. He has obviously got a plan.
Yeah.
They wouldn't come. Exactly. He turned around and he said to Ekitike, lad, we're getting Isak. You're going to be sitting your French arse on the bench. You're not going to be playing. He's not coming.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not coming. So, it's just, I just find it strange. Like, it's exciting, and it should be exciting, and the only thing that should be feeling is excitement.
Yeah. How are we talking negative about Liverpool signing players and making a squad?
The thing is, though, boys, he's just a fucking negative fool. And, like, his loser mentality came out a bit to Scholes. Scholes said, well, we've done it every year. We wanted to win. Who gives a shit if Liverpool pay 150 or fucking 200 million? Alexander Isak's the best number 9 in Europe. Who cares? The fact is, when was the last time we had a fucking player that came in who was the ready-made finished article? You'd probably say Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, wouldn't you? Thiago, maybe. But this signing now is the creme de la creme. It's the final piece for Liverpool. Yeah. He's going to do well. So what's Carragher talking about? Fucking chatting shit all the time. I understand he's a passionate fucking person talking about football, but his opinion's nonsense. It doesn't matter. So would it mean it's a lot better if fucking Isak was 50 million? Who cares? The money shouldn't come into it. The fact is, Liverpool have got the opportunity, and a player that is desperate to come to the club, who's the best number 9 around, who gives a fuck how much it costs? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Liverpool are looking at how much silverware they can win. That's all they're thinking about. Not asked about the money.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was very strange. I don't know what he was.
Stupid, lad.
Such a stupid. I'd like to say to him as well, I would have loved us to have an Ekitike on the bench behind Torres back in the day and not fucking David Engog. We would have been a better team.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they'll be the first to sit there if we signed Isak and Isak was out for 2-3 months and Liverpool, they'd be the first on their fucking Monday Night Football talking about a lack of squad depth.
Yeah.
You fucking can't win, mate. Also, while we're on this topic of can't win, the other day you had people saying sell Nunez and Diaz. We're selling them, and it's like, why are we doing that? So
We've got no team now, supposedly.
Do you know what I mean? Pick one side.
Are they losing, Ali? Just saw that Pepe scored. Are they losing? I mean, I think you do definitely get a different Carragher on the Sky stuff to what you get when he's just talking. I don't know.
Definitely does that, like, genuinely, to not come across biased or something like that. Do you know?
It's got to be, innit?
It's got to be, hasn't it? Got to be.
Arsenal losing.
He's on Twitter though, having arguments with everyone.
Yeah, he's arguing with Dave Hendrick, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. He's been on holiday, come back and started. This first thing he's done is kick off at fans because we want Isak.
Where's he asked about the money? He's moaned for years that Liverpool don't spend enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think it's just almost a borderline insult that he thinks Liverpool and Slot, and they don't spend money easily. Yeah. If they're dropping 200 million quid, no more. I mean, what? Isak say he goes 135. About 200 million quid on the pair of them, and he thinks that they're doing it without having a plan for him. Fuck me. I mean, he's in and around Liverpool more than us. How has he come to that conclusion?
But Mark, you see the impact, right? Ekitike had the other day. Think of what fucking Isak's impact's going to be like. Like, we're talking Haaland levels fucking number 9 here. Do you know what I mean? Ekatike looked amazing the other day in that first half.
Yeah.
Isak going into this Liverpool team, you know it's 1,000,000% going to work. He will be the difference in Liverpool fucking dominating Europe. Adam, you said it ages ago. You said it a few weeks ago. He's the difference between Liverpool being above PSG or level.
Yeah. And I made up. Obviously, it looks like we're doing it.
Yeah. And we moaned for years, why aren't these big players coming to Liverpool? Fucking hell, when we try and get one, you'd have him, people like him moaning.
Making it negative.
Yeah, well, Liverpool have done what we never thought they would do under FSG. They've gone and won a Premier League. They've gone into the summer and they've dropped their bollocks on the table to the whole of the footballing world and gone, we're here, we've arrived. How you can try and make a negative out of that, it's just nitpicking for the sake of it. But I mean, Gary Neville's the same. He's picked again Arsenal to win the league again for the third time in a row. Like, it's just
he's got it, hasn't he? He's got to stick with it.
It's like he's chasing a loss. Like he's put his money on red, black came in. He's doubled it on red again, black came in. Then he's quadrupled it on red again. Like I don't, he doesn't believe that. He just can't bring himself to.
I'm happy to be honest. I'm made up. He's not picking us. Fuck him. Who cares?
Absolute jinx. But look, I think we'll leave it there, gents. Obviously, we've done a good pretty much hour talking about a few bits and bobs. But look, I mean, I would suggest I would not be amazed if in the next 24 hours something pretty Schlott's bold. He is a fucking crab. He is a crab. I wouldn't be surprised though if something pretty significant comes out in the next 12, 24 hours if they've had a meeting, Eddie Howe and Isak. So let's say watch this space. As always, we'll be ready to react to the news. So what we're not going to do is just jump on and recycle old stuff. We're going to jump on as and when some breaking news comes out to chat about it. But gents, obviously Ross had to drop off earlier, but if you're watching, mate, thank you for coming on. Ads, Rick, Ben, as always, it's been a pleasure. Chat, thank you for the questions and thank you for the interactions. As always, if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really does help the channel out. But until next time, which is hopefully tomorrow, because that means there's more Isak news. Over and out. Up the Reds.